Hi, Malika.
If you're going through a difficult time right now, trying to make some major changes in your life, perhaps you've started a new venture, perhaps you changed your career track, trying to do something new, or if you're just working hard to create a better future for yourself and for your family, and you're not seeing the results so far, and you're feeling a little disappointed, then the following verses will give you a lot of strength and energy to pursue and persist. This poem's called Don't Quit No Matter What. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about when he might have won if he'd stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you can never tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you are hardest hit. It's when things go wrong that you must not quit. So stick to the fight when you are hardest hit. It's when things go wrong that you must not quit.
Okay. Hear me. It's when things go wrong that you must not quit. Two steps forward, one step backward. No good news. Every day, every day. I know I'm talking to somebody this morning. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. Struggle. The news not good, but I'm here to tell you, stick to the fight. When you're hardest hit, when things go wrong, you must not quit. So, anyone want to say anything this morning before we go?
CJ, I don't know if my phone will afford me to, but the poem that you just played there, it reminds me about the train going through the tunnel where it's really dark. But then we have to bear in mind that we have to fight on. because at the end of the tunnel, there is light. So these are very inspiring words, very motivational. And I think we can gain strength from listening to them. So we just have to continue the fight. Better days are coming. And there's hope, which we cannot let go of. We have to keep hope in sight. And that is what I've gotten from that poem. I can't afford to quit, CJ. And it says to very line that I like most is that success is just around the corner. So that's my take from listening to that poem. And honestly, it helped me to lift my spirit. Because there are times when I feel down, yes. But listening to a poem like this, it helps me to soar like the eagle. Thank you, CJ, for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Sylvia. What you have just done is to vocalize what most of us are quietly, silently thinking, feeling, experiencing. Life with its many twists and turns. So, don't quit. I'm going to bring on stage Dr. Seth. And then after Dr. Seth, we want to talk about supplements with Louisia. She's a uh, um, biomedical scientist. We want to talk about the supplements this morning. And perhaps before I go there, let me talk about our company for a quick minute. Uh, or perhaps we could talk about Hemohim for a quick minute from the company called Hemohim. And then we go right into our Dr. Capehart, Dr. Seth, and then we talk about supplements this morning. Welcome again, and thank you, Malika. If you're available, just to uh, monitor my back office in case anyone leave their microphone unattended. It's good to know that you're such a faithful, dear co-host. I thank you, Malika. We thank you. And for those who from time to time join me as my co-host, you're so appreciated. So we do our Hemohim, then we will take a look at we will have a chat with Dr. Seth. He has something interesting to say to us this morning, and then we go into supplements.
The first product that I want to spend just a little time on, because I know each and every one of you are consuming this wonderful product. The only thing that I want to point out about this Hemohim is how it was originated. It was not originated for the general populace, that is us. It was originated for a selected few. And the selected few are world-renowned scientists all over the world. Now, this company, Kerry, they are also in the Republic of South Korea, and I encourage each and every one of you to do your own due diligence and your own research to make sure that I am telling you the truth. This company, Kerry, they produce gamma rays, infrared rays. If a human body is too much exposed to those rays, your cells start to mutate, you get sick, so on and so forth. So this product, Hemohim, came about to protect a few worldly scientists from overexposure to radioactivity. That's it. Now I'm going to discuss what it does when you swallow it. And in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, yes, I am of Asian descent, but this was very, very hard for me to ingest right away. A lot of Hemohim wasted. But now, many years later, I cannot live without this product. And if you see our home, it is covered with Atomi products. And all of our family members, if you see them, they're eating something within the Atomi line. So when this Hemohim product gets into your body, it does a lot of different things. I don't have medical background, but I know what it does. First, we have something called natural killer cells in our body. And this has everything and anything to do with your immune system. Your immune system is hierarchical, okay? You have different levels. If the first level is damaged, which is your natural killer cells, then your body cannot fight deadly pathogens that come your way. We have seasonal change right now. We have allergies. We have people that are sniffling, sneezing, those things. If your immune system is strong, you will be able to fight those viruses that come your way that's airborne. But if your immune system is weak, and we're aging, and immunity has everything to do with the aging process as well, then you cannot fight that. This is why you need to take this. If you don't know why you're taking it, just continue to take it. If you do know why you're taking it, obviously you have to take it all the time. This is for sick people, well-balanced people, athletes, whatever you are. It doesn't matter as long as you are of some sort of human nature. What this product also does is it builds your red and white blood cells, and it oxygenates your blood. So if you think about it, we as human beings, we can live without certain organs. I'm sure you'll agree with that. But blood and oxygen being stripped from your body, you will become a corpse. That's how I look at it. So that is why this product is actually a godsend, if you think about it.
There's a company that has made the seemingly impossible become reality. Starting from a small country to USA, Canada, Japan, Southeast Asia, and now South America. A global company with 4 million active members across 11 countries, growing beyond its home market and quickly gaining notice across the world. A company that received the $50 million export award in 2017. With extraordinary growth since its foundation in 2009, global sales reached about $1 billion in 2017 and continues to show steady growth. Going beyond customer satisfaction, fulfilling customer success. We are Atomy. Beginning with health and beauty products, Atomy's various products include food, living, fashion, and home products. Figures released by the Korea Fair Trade Commission show that Hemohim was top in the industry in sales volume for 3 straight years. While the Skincare 6 system was the best-selling cosmetic product, the new Absolute Skincare set released in 2017 was chosen by many consumers and is becoming a revolutionary skincare product. These figures indicate how much Atomy products are satisfying consumers around the world. However, Atomy's true value lies in the company's inner side. Atomy uses its Mastige strategy, providing benefits to consumers with absolute quality at absolute prices, while also increasing quality of life for our members. Atomy supports cooperative companies so they can do their best to maintain the best quality, so customers can get top quality products at affordable prices, creating a culture that benefits the growth of all parties involved. Third, culture of sharing. The company is a part of a society, and Atomy is pushing to become a role model in creating a better society by promoting the culture of sharing and communication between company and society. To live, to love, to learn, and to share. We hope Atomy can become the life partner that leads to your success. Cherishing the spirit. We are Proud Atomy.
Okay, so as promised, please put the videos in the chat. I am unable to put. Okay, all right. Okay, can do that. Okay, Dr. Lloyd. So we want to take a minute this morning and have Dr. Seth Capehart. I like this guy. He really goes into all these interrelated issues as it concerns our health and well-being. Medical doctor, board certified. But this morning, for a quick minute, 16 minutes, we want to talk about the most dangerous invention ever. So after we're done listening to Dr. Seth, then we're going to talk about supplements. Okay, here we go.
3 minutes, whether you have all your teeth, some teeth, or none at all. No glue, no...
For 300,000 years, humans moved constantly. We walked and ran and climbed, lifted, carried, swam, squatted, crawled, and occasionally sprinted for our lives. We were upright, physical animals designed to be in motion throughout the day. Then about 150 years ago, in the grand sweep of human history, basically last Tuesday, someone decided we should all sit at a desk for 10 hours a day. And we did. And we called it civilization. Today I want to show you what that decision is actually doing to your body, because the research is significantly more alarming than most people realize, and the fact that everyone does it doesn't make it any less dangerous. If we haven't met, I'm Seth. I'm an ER doc and former special ops guy. Today I'm going to show you why the chair was the worst invention ever made. Let's start with some context, because understanding how we got here makes the rest of this make a lot more sense. For the vast majority of human existence, sitting was something you did briefly and very close to the ground. You squatted, you crouched, you rested on your haunches, and then you got back up again. Archaeological evidence of habitual squatting is literally written into ancient skeletal remains. You can see the imprints on the tibia and the lower leg bones of populations that squatted regularly. Researchers have traced exactly when squatting declined in European populations. It was at the end of the Middle Ages as chairs became more common. Before that, it was just how people rested. The chair itself started as a symbol of power. In ancient Egypt, raised seating was reserved for royalty. Pharaohs sat on thrones to literally elevate themselves above everyone else. In ancient Greece, philosophers actually walked while they thought. It was called the peripatetic tradition, because movement and thinking were considered inseparable. The great thinkers of antiquity did not sit at desks. They paced, they walked, they moved. Chairs were for the powerful, the privileged, and the old. Everyone else squatted, stood, or moved throughout their day. That began to change slowly. As agricultural societies developed, sitting became more and more common. As trade and commerce grew, scribes and merchants began working in more stationary positions. But even then, the sitting was intermittent. It was broken up constantly by physical activity. Nobody was pinned to the chair for 8 consecutive hours. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and everything changed. In the 1880s, the first modern office buildings appeared, and with them came something completely unprecedented in human history: the idea that large numbers of people should sit at desks for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, for their entire working lives. No civilization had ever organized itself this way before. The furniture industry responded predictably. To make money, if people were going to sit that long, they needed comfortable chairs. Cushions that got thicker, backs that got higher, lumbar support became the selling point. Ergonomic designs became an entire industry, all dedicated to making prolonged sitting more bearable rather than asking whether prolonged sitting was a good idea in the first place. The more comfortable the chair, the longer the people sat. The longer the people sat, the more normal it became. The more normal it became, the less anyone questioned it. And then we did something that I think future generations will look back on with genuine disbelief. We applied the same model to children. Think about what school actually is from a movement perspective. A child arrives at age 5, a creature of pure kinetic energy designed to biologically to run and climb and jump and roll and explore, and we sit them in a chair for 6 to 8 hours with brief recesses that were steadily reduced over decades as academic pressures increased. We tell them to be still, be quiet, don't fidget, shh, pay attention. Look at the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer tribes on Earth today, widely studied by anthropologists as a window into how humans historically moved. Hadza children move throughout the day. They play, they climb, they run, they help with the camp activities. They are rarely still. And they show almost none of the metabolic or musculoskeletal issues that plague children in industrialized societies at the same rate. We took children who were supposed to be the most physically active humans on the planet and made sitting their primary occupation from age 5 onward. And then we wondered why rates of childhood obesity, ADHD diagnosis, anxiety, and musculoskeletal issues in young people have all climbed steadily in decades since. Now the average American adult sits for somewhere between 9 and 10 hours per day. Not counting sleep. Just waking sedentary time at desks, in cars, on couches. And think about this for a second. You sleep for 8 hours, you work for about 8 to 10 hours, and then you have about 6 to 8 hours for other activities in life. And for about 10 of those hours, you are seated. Of your waking hours, you're seated. We took a species built to move almost constantly and asked it to be still for the majority of its waking hours. And the body has a very clear opinion about that. Let's go from head to toe, because this isn't just about back pain. It is a full body problem. Your neck and upper back. When you sit at a desk, your head drifts forward. It's called forward head posture, and it happens to almost everyone who sits at a computer for hours. For every inch your head moves forward of your shoulders, the effective load on your cervical spine roughly doubles. Your head weighs about 10 to 12 pounds in a neutral position. That means sitting up straight. Drift it 3 inches forward, which is extremely common when you're sitting at a desk, and your neck is managing the equivalent of 30 to 40 pounds all day, every day. The muscles of your upper back and rear shoulders, your rhomboids, your rear delts, your lower traps are constantly being stretched and weakened in this position, while your chest and your front shoulders tighten. This is why so many desk workers develop that rounded shoulder, head forward position that looks like their body is slowly trying to fold in on itself. Because it is. Your spine. Research shows that sitting increases spinal disc pressure by 40 to 90% compared to standing. That constant compression sustained for hours contributes to disc degeneration over time, the narrowing and breakdown of the cushioning between the vertebrae. This is one of the primary drivers of chronic lower back pain, which is now the leading cause of disability globally. The natural S curvature of your spine, designed to distribute and absorb shock, flattens when you sit. Ligaments get overstretched. Stabilizing muscles stop firing because they're not needed anymore because of your ergonomic chair. And prolonged back muscle stiffness sets in. A controlled study found that sitting for just 4.5 hours caused significant increase in lower back muscle stiffness in participants. Not years of sitting, 4.5 hours. Once. Your hips and glutes. Your hip flexors, the muscles that pull your knees towards your chest, are in a chronic shortened position when you're sitting. Over time, they tighten and they stay tight when you stand up, pulling your pelvis forward and contributing to the lower back pain that we just talked about. And your glutes, your butt cheeks, the largest, most powerful muscle group in your body, simply stop working. There's an actual clinical term for this called gluteal amnesia. Your glutes literally forgot how to fire properly because they've been switched off for so many hours that the neuromuscular connection weakens. Weak glutes means your lower back compensates for movements that your glutes should be doing, which means your lower back pain, more hip pain, and less power in basically every physical movement that you make. Next up, your legs and circulation. Prolonged sitting causes blood to pool in your lower legs. You felt this, the heaviness, the swelling, the achiness after long flights or a long day at a desk. Over time, this contributes to poor venous return, varicose veins, and in more serious cases, an increased risk of deep vein thrombosis, which is blood clots in the legs that can break loose and travel to your lungs, stopping you from being able to breathe. Your leg muscles function as secondary pumps for your circulatory system when they're contracting during movement, are completely inactive when you sit, which means your heart is doing all the work alone.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the train station is located?
Which means your heart is doing all the work alone. Next, your metabolism. When your muscles aren't contracting, they stop pulling glucose out of your bloodstream. Insulin resistance starts building. Your metabolism slows down because your body interprets sustained stillness as a signal to conserve energy. Fat oxidation, the process of burning fat for fuel, essentially stops when you're sedentary. This is why people who sit all day struggle to lose weight even when they exercise. An hour at the gym does not undo 9 hours of metabolic shutdown. The research on this is super clear. Exercise and sedentary behavior are separate variables with separate health consequences. You can be someone who works out regularly and still be at an elevated risk because of how much you sit the other 23 hours. Your heart. A 2024 study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology followed nearly 90,000 people using objective movement trackers for an average of 8 years. The findings were pretty dramatic. Sitting for more than 10.6 hours per day was significantly linked to future heart failure and cardiovascular death, even among people who were meeting the recommended 150 minutes of weekly exercise. A 40 to 60% greater risk of heart failure and cardiovascular death at that threshold. Listen to that again. Even people who were exercising regularly. The sitting was doing damage that the gym sessions couldn't fully undo. A separate study published in JAMA Network followed nearly 500,000 people, found that individuals who predominantly sat at work had a 16% higher risk of dying from any cause and a 34% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those who didn't sit primarily at work. And then your brain. Emerging research is now connecting prolonged sitting to cognitive decline. Physical movement increases cerebral blood flow and promotes the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essentially a growth protein for brain cells. Sitting suppresses both. Sedentary behavior is associated with higher rates of depression, anxiety, and reduced cognitive function. When you stop moving, your body, your brain, gets less of what it needs to function well. And then there's your gut. Prolonged sitting slows gastric motility, the movement of food through your digestive system. It increases intra-abdominal pressure. It reduces the mechanical activity that keeps your digestive system working efficiently. This contributes to things like bloating and constipation and acid reflux, some of the most common complaints we get these days. It is also frequently associated with hemorrhoid development. What's clear is your digestive system works better when you move. Here's the good news. Some people figured this out before the rest of us. Here's what other countries are doing now. Denmark has gone further than almost anyone. It is a legal requirement in Denmark for employers to provide height-adjustable desks to office workers. Not a wellness perk, not a nice to have, a legal mandate. The Danish government looked at the research and decided that asking people to sit in a fixed chair for 8 hours a day was no longer acceptable as a workplace standard. Similarly, Japan has implemented national workplace movement policies throughout their Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, building structured activity breaks into the workday and measuring their impact on both health outcome and productivity. Studies of Japanese office workers using sit-stand desks showed significant reductions in neck and shoulder pain, improvements in subjective health, and measurable increases in work performance. And then there's several Scandinavian countries have redesigned office spaces to make movement the default. Standing meeting tables, walking meeting routes, centralized resources that require people to get up and move to access them. The goal isn't to make work harder, it's to make sitting all day structurally harder than moving. And here's what the research on these interventions shows. Workers in offices with movement integrated design spent 71 fewer minutes per day sitting compared to control offices. That's over an hour of recovered movement per day, just from changing the environment around. So, what can you actually do about it? You probably don't work in Denmark. I don't work in Denmark. So let's talk practically. The single most important thing the research supports is breaking up sitting time, not just exercising more. Getting up and moving for 2 to 5 minutes every 30 to 60 minutes has a meaningful impact on metabolic markers, circulation, and musculoskeletal health. Set a timer if you need to. I know it feels kind of stupid until you realize that it actually works. Walking meetings, if a conversation doesn't require a screen, have it walking. Some of the best thinking happens on foot. The ancient Greeks knew this. You can do it too. The standing desk or the walking treadmill desk, if your work allows it, with the honest caveat that standing in one spot all day is not the same as moving. You need to alternate between sitting, standing, and moving. The goal is variation, not just trading one static position for another. I use a walking treadmill at my desk here when I have it standing, and it's just absolutely tremendous for getting your steps in during the day, thinking clear, and just feeling better overall. Take the stairs, park further away, walk to lunch. These are not new ideas. They're just ideas that need to be treated with the same seriousness as going to the gym, because the research suggests they matter just as much. And if you have kids, let them move. Fight for recess. Limit screen time, not as a moral issue, but as a biological one. The child's body is not designed to sit for 6 hours a day any more than yours is. The habits they form now will determine how their bodies age for the next 60 years. The fix for sitting isn't complicated. It's just movement. Regular, frequent, throughout the day movement. The kind that was built into every human life until about 150 years ago, and the kind that our biology still expects and requires. We built a world that requires almost no physical effort to navigate, and we called that progress. In many ways, it is. Modern life has given us things our ancestors couldn't have imagined. But somewhere in building all of that convenience, we stripped out the one thing our bodies were designed around. Movement. Not exercise, not the gym, not just movement. Constant, varied throughout the day, movement that was never supposed to be optional. It was just supposed to be life. Research is clear. Sitting too much is not a minor inconvenience. It's a genuine health risk that operates independently of how much you exercise. It affects your heart, your spine, your metabolism, your brain, your circulation, and your longevity. And it starts early with children who are asked to be still before they've even had a chance to move the way their biology demands. The fix is not complicated. Get up, move, break it up. Make movement the default wherever you can. Your body was not built for a chair. It was built for the world. Go use it. If you want help building a life,
Who's going to be first? Who is going to be first? Freestyle Monday. We talk, we share, we interact. Come on. I don't care how much supplements you want to take. Yeah, take your Hemahim. That's fine. Your Noni. Your Omegas. And in a minute we're going to be talking about the supplements. I don't care how much supplementation you do. Start moving. So, do we have any takeaways this morning?
Yes, this is Helene.
Hey, Helene.
Hi. I'm just surprised that sitting is linked to so many different, sitting too long is linked to so many different diseases such as heart failure, anxiety, depression, and the digestive system and cognitive functioning. So this is an eye-opening for me this morning.
You know, Helen, I'm so happy that you just now expressed what you expressed. Some things are so simple.
Yes.
You know, the walking, exercise, sleeping, drinking water, walking on the grass, on the earth. Take off your shoes, take off the slippers, get out in the sun. Some simple things that we take for granted. I don't care how many supplements you want to take. Yeah, walking, moving. Thank you, Helen. Thank
Helene,
you,
it's Helene. Helene.
Helene.
Right,
Thank you.
Helene.
My
Okay.
apology. My
Yes.
apology. Helene.
Very interesting. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone else want to share, make an input this morning?
Yes, good morning. And hi, CJ. Emmanuel
Morning,
has his hands up, I think. It's Emmanuel. Emmanuel
Emmanuel.
Stone. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Thank you. This is Emmanuel. I posted my message on the chat, but what I had to share with people is that one of my two jobs, I do the constant observer in hospital. And many times when we do 12 hours, imagine 12 hours sitting in front of somebody, sitting 12 hours from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or according to the shift, you will be sitting 12 hours. And about what this doctor said already, it's a problem. And in that job, we like to have a calm patient who is not agitated, who is not training you to do too much movement. Imagine what we are affording. Thank you.
Oh boy. And you know what, Emmanuel, to drive home the point, here is a tragedy, and the numbers are out there to show it. People who sit too long, sit too often, constantly sitting, they die earlier. You extend your lifespan when you walk, when you move. That sedentary lifestyle, it does not work. Thank you, Emmanuel. My concern is always for those guys, those truck drivers that do these long hauls. Oh my goodness. 10, 12, 14 hours. Yeah. And over time, it accumulates the kidney, the gut, the brain, the spine. These jobs that require a lot of sitting. Yeah. And so you wonder. They say it's the greatest country, but you can't compare the health of the people in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Japan. It is mandated that even if you have a sitting job, you got to move. And these people live longer. The life expectancy of the people in Japan, it's way, way beyond the life expectancy here in the West. Thank you, Emmanuel.
You're welcome.
So let's get busy. Let's start moving. If you are sitting too long, too often, may I suggest that you start moving, start walking. Anyone else want to share, make a contribution to the conversation this morning before we move on? Is there anyone else? So last week, I think it was Friday, we were talking about supplements, and we had to. I think Dr. Lloyd, she posted a lovely video as it relates to supplements, which we are going to also play this morning. But in the next 18 minutes, real quick, let's talk with Louisa Nicola as she discusses with Stephen uh, the the whole situation with supplements. And this is very important. The supplements we take.
This is the most anticipated smart security camera of the year. No internet connection needed. No.
Sticking on supplements for a second. Omega-3.
Yes.
I've got some omega-3 here. I've got 2 of them here. But when I brought both of them out, you said that I've got to be quite careful about what brand I buy, but also something about temperature.
So by far, out of all of the supplements, omega-3 is probably the only one that you have to make sure that you look at the supplement label for. There was this study that was done that showed that around 95% of the most popular omega-3 supplements in the US, and there was about 85 of them that were tested, exceeded the normal oxidation level, meaning that these pills, because they're omega-3 fatty acids, they come from fish oil, they are oil, they can become rancid and oxidized. And they usually do this when they're in a heated environment. Here are the rules of thumbs. One, you want to look for a manufacturer that is highly credible and that is certified.
Certified?
Yeah. So NSF certified. So it's an external governing board that certifies them on, everything, heavy metals. They make sure that the oxidation level.
And by the way, again, NSF is popping up again. The National Sanitation Foundation. You got to inspect your products. You don't have to worry about Atomy products because everything is 100% certified. But here in the US, make sure you are looking on the label for NSF because most of these supplements, which you will discover as we proceed in this interview, are not regulated.
Are met and they make sure that what's in the capsule is actually in the capsule. That's another thing that is scary. The supplement industry is highly unregulated, and I treat my omega-3s the same way I treat my olive oil. You want to get oil that is sourced in the area that you are. We're in California right now, so you might want to find an omega-3 that is sourced in California.
Do I want to put it in the fridge?
You want to put it in the fridge the moment that you get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does nobody talk about that?
I'm not sure, but it's just the same as olive oil. You don't want the olive oil to become rancid, so you don't leave it near the stove. You want to put it in a cupboard away from the stove.
And these are good for the brain?
Omega-3s by far one of the most potent stimulus that you could have for the brain. They help with cell membrane fluidity. So where your cells meet, neuron to neuron, they create something called a synapse. And in order for that to occur, we have a massive influx of all of these neurotransmitters. Dopamine, serotonin, we've also got calcium and potassium, and these help our brain cells communicate, okay? We want to make sure that our membranes, the cell membranes, are fluid and they glide in order to help with that synaptic transmission. Another thing that they do is they are comparable to an NSAID, an anti-inflammatory medication. These have massive anti-inflammatory effects. In fact, I think that these have the safety profile of an FDA-approved drug, and there's only benefits from it. There's no side effects from it. Not just that, 60% of our brain is made of fat. 70% of that is made of DHA. And DHA comes from omega-3 fatty acids. So why do I not want to replace my brain or the fat in my brain with what it's made of? And that's what you do when you have omega-3 fatty acids. In fact, there's been several trials to show that omega-3 fatty acids are most beneficial and most effective for mild cognitive impairment patients, people who have the ApoE4 gene, and people who have got Alzheimer's disease. Because when I told you that we get the breakdown of the blood-brain barrier, those parasites on the blood-brain barrier require DHA. In fact, there's a transporter on the outside of our brain that allows the DHA to come in and get into the brain.
And I know you're a big fan of vitamin D as well, because there's been some very encouraging studies done there.
Vitamin D is phenomenal. We have vitamin D receptors all over our brainstem, and they're abundantly found in the hippocampus and the memory centers of our brain. And there was actually a study done on centenarians in China.
Centenarians?
Those who lived to 100, but it was done in women. And they showed that the women who preserved their cognitive functions and who didn't get Alzheimer's disease had high levels of vitamin D. So they weren't vitamin D deficient. In fact, being vitamin D deficient can increase your risk of all-cause dementia by 40%. Likely, having a high level of vitamin D, which is around 60 nanograms per deciliter, can lower your risk of getting Alzheimer's disease by around 80%.
It's pretty hard to tell that I'm AI, right? Well, I want to show you how you can create me in
deciliter, can lower your risk of getting Alzheimer's disease by around 80%.
And then we have this white powder in front of me. You've got a big smile on your face.
I do, because there is just so much benefit to this, depending on which brand you've bought, of course. But I can't say enough about creatine. I have my parents on creatine. They're 71 years old. I've got my dad on high-dose creatine. I've got my mother on low-dose creatine. It's the most widely studied supplement on the market.
I've never seen you this excited.
I'm so excited because I think that this is a really cheap and effective way to get everything you want from both your physiology, an upgrade on your physiology, and your neurophysiology. So let's actually talk about creatine, because I know it gets a lot of airtime, but women and men are still scared of it. And they're scared of it for two reasons. One, they're scared it's going to cause kidney damage. And two, they're scared their hair is going to fall out. And I'm going to address both of those fears. But first, let's talk about what it is. So creatine is a naturally occurring molecule. We produce around 2 to 3 grams of creatine per day. It gets secreted from a bit from the brain, but a lot from the liver. And 2 to 3 grams a day is great, but it's not enough. So we have to supplement with it. And all through the 90s and all through the 2000s, people were supplementing with 5 grams a day. That is this scoop here, 5 grams of creatine per day. Now that we're getting more rigorous with our brain health studies, we have found that creatine has enormous benefits for the brain. But here's the problem. When you have 5 grams of creatine, you're saturating the muscles. Okay, remember, the muscles are so hungry, so they get first dibs and they take up all of that creatine. So then there's none left for the brain. We also lose a bit of the bioavailability when the creatine goes into the brain. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, but when it goes into the brain, we lose some of it. So we have to supplement with more than 5 grams. And one of the studies that changed my thinking came out last year. It was the first ever pilot study done on Alzheimer's disease patients. You're talking about patients whose brains are under attack. They're in an energetic crisis. They cannot produce energy effectively. ATP is all skewed. Brain glucose metabolism is skewed. They don't remember left from right. Cognitive functions are declined. They put them on 20 grams of creatine per day.
Which is how much? Show me.
Actually, that is 4 of this. So you want to go 1. And I don't know if they did this all at once, that's 2, or if they did it like me over 4 separate intervals throughout the day. There we go.
That's a lot of creatine.
That's a lot, which is why you probably want to have this skewed throughout the day, which is what I did. I had 20 grams today. I had 5 grams in the morning, 5 mid-morning, and then I think I had 10 all at once before I got here. So that is a lot for all at once. And what they found was that these patients not only preserved their cognitive functions, but they had more energy and they were able to exercise more. And it blew my mind that it does not matter how old you are. It doesn't discriminate based on gender. Creatine doesn't discriminate based on age. It doesn't discriminate based on weight. It doesn't discriminate based on pathology or disease states or ethnicity. It is just there. It is there to support you. It's the most widely studied supplement on the market.
What is it
and
doing?
It's all risk.
What is
It's all reward. There is no risk. It's helping with cell energy metabolism. So basically, it's helping ATP create energy.
So if you're someone that is low energy, you should definitely be having creatine.
I don't care who you are. You should definitely be having creatine.
People with brain fog and...
Yeah, people with brain fog. You know, I think one of the greatest benefits are men who are in football players. It's actually a protective molecule. So what studies has shown is that at high doses of creatine, around 30 grams a day, it can protect you against insults. Insults meaning you take a hit to the head, like a concussion. It can protect your brain against a concussion. It can protect your brain against a stroke. It can protect your brain from stress. The best thing about creatine is that it works in the background of stress. I think that's where you'll get most of the benefits from.
After hearing so much about creatine on this podcast, I started recommending it to all of the people in my life. There's one particular person actually that's probably out there in my house at the moment who had gone through cancer treatments and had survived cancer treatments, and in their words wasn't the same on the other side of the cancer treatments. And I talked to her about creatine, and she said to me the other day, I think the exact quote was, "I feel like I've got my life back." Because she's been taking creatine every single day for the last, I'd say 5 months or so.
It's funny you said that, because just recently in the last 2 weeks, this study was done to show the anti-cancer effects of creatine. And if my memory serves clear, they dosed it at 0.36 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if you are a 70 kilo person, if my mathematics is correct, you're looking at around 25 grams of creatine per day that can have the effects, the anti-cancer effects.
So the study you're referring to, I'll put up on the screen as well for anyone that wants to see it. It's the NANS 2025 study, which was a major study involving over 25,000 adults, found a linear negative association between dietary creatine and cancer prevalence. For every standard deviation increase in dietary creatine intake, the risk of having cancer decreased by roughly 5% to 18%, depending on the demographic.
That is wild.
This protective association was strongest in adults over the age of 50, suggesting that as we age, maintaining higher creatine levels might be more critical for cellular health and immune surveillance.
Men's intimate health and overall comfort in the body often connect to how freely the hips and lower back move, which makes gentle mobility work a habit with the whole.
Levels might be more critical for cellular health and immune surveillance.
Well, if you think about life and think about energy, we need energy to survive. We need energy to fight off infections. We need energy to fight off stress, preserve our normal bodily functions. So when we are at the mercy of a low energy crisis, we can't fight off tumor cells. We can't fight off these debilitating diseases. So it actually makes sense that with more energy and with more functional energy, meaning like if our cells can function better, it makes sense that you can see a reduction in cancer incidence. Likely, you can see a reduction in Alzheimer's disease incidence. When I said that creatine works in the background of stress, also there's been phenomenal research to show that you can basically creatine your way out of sleep deprivation. So if you've had a long night and you're sleep deprived, maybe you slept 4, 5, 6 hours, you're sleep deprived, you can take high dose creatine in the form of around 15 to 20 grams a day, and you can reverse the negative effects associated with that sleep deprivation.
Does it matter what time you take the creatine?
It doesn't matter what time you take the creatine. It doesn't degrade in hot water. You can take it anytime throughout the day. And It doesn't matter whether you're taking it right before exercise, during exercise, after exercise. It works phenomenally. Some people, researchers are now wondering if taking it at night before bed helps with sleep performance. And I think that that's a really exciting area. But the one thing that I want to tell everybody, because a lot of people are scared of this biomarker called creatinine, meaning that
my doctor said that to me.
Yeah, so meaning that you've got a high creatinine level. And this is a marker it's one marker of kidney function, but this is where I find it really invaluable. And this is where a lot of the nonsense comes around on Instagram and social media. A lot of people say, well, I had so much creatine that my doctor told me to get off it because my creatinine levels were high. But creatinine levels are high during times of stress, during times of intense physical activity, and also people who have a lot of muscle mass, higher muscle mass, that's you, have higher creatinine levels. What you want to test, a greater marker of kidney function and GFR, is cystatin C. So all you have to ask, it's really easy, ask your doctor, could I please get cystatin C in my blood work? And if that is elevated and not within normal range, then maybe get off creatine. But right now, I cannot see any reason as to not have creatine every single day. I think every single person, no matter what age you are, everybody should be supplementing with creatine. Now, there was this recent study that came out on menopausal women, and it was a really small study. It was a randomized control trial, and they split women into 4 groups, and these were perimenopausal women. They split them into low dose creatine, where I think they were having 750 milligrams a day, medium dose, which was around 1.5 grams a day. Then they had them supplement with a range of both creatine monohydrate and creatine hydrochloride. This was a hydrochloride creatine study. And then there was a placebo group. What they found was a very small study, very small group. What they found was that those in the medium range, having the 1.5, had substantial increases in their mood and their cognitive functions. So creatine is now being explored in females across the lifespan as it relates to perimenopause, pregnancy, menopause, and dementia. So it's phenomenal. The only thing I want to point out, what you want to look for when it comes to creatine are 2 things when it comes to manufacturing standards. You want to look, A, has it been NSF certified? And B, you want to look for, is it CreaPure? And that's the gold standard of creatine. And it comes from Germany. And so the one that you've got there, I can tell it's not CreaPure.
Excuse me.
I know my creatine.
How can you tell what it is by looking at it?
I can just tell. I bet you $1 million that it is the brand that I think it is, because it's got this powdered icing sugar substance. If it was pure gold standard CreaPure, it would be gritty. The reason why it's like this is because a lot of manufacturers want to add these different agents in there in order for it to mix well. This probably mixes really well. A lot of people also complain of feeling GI distress when they take it. And all I have to say is that's not a reason to stop taking it. Maybe take 2 grams at a time, maybe take 3 grams at a time, but don't stop taking it.
If you love the
Yes, my Atomians and family and friends, you heard it. And just now, Louise is talking about NSF, National Sanitation Foundation. NSF certified. And I am looking forward to Atomy bringing to the marketplace the gold standard creatine. You know, what we do here on Momentum Mornings is just to expose the information. Yes, that's what we do. So the word is out there. Creatine is something that it's a supplement that should be included in your daily intake. But we want to ensure that we examine carefully the supplements that we take. What we are happy about, Eileen, is that our supplements here are absolute quality, and the price also is the absolute price. So I'll play one last video for the morning as it relates to us being very aware, being very vigilant about the supplements that we take.
I mounted this camera on my front door on a Monday. By Wednesday, the AI had flagged 3 behavioral anomalies on my street. One of them was a burglary that happened 2 doors down on Thursday. There's a new security camera out there.
When you take a supplement to support your health, you are making an investment in your body. But have you ever stopped to wonder where those ingredients actually come from or who made them? In a market flooded with unknown brands and mystery manufacturers, cheap can come at a very high cost to your safety. Many people don't realize that supplement regulations vary drastically by country. In the United States, the FDA regulates dietary supplements under a post-market system, similar to how food is treated. That means supplements can go onto store shelves and into the general market without ever having to prove their safety, effectiveness, or legitimacy first. So basically, it's possible for anyone to make a supplement, put a label on it, and sell it in the US without proving its contents or safety. You heard that right. There is no pre-market approval of supplements needed in the US. The FDA only investigates after there is reasonable cause for concern, such as complaints of illness, death, or other harmful effects. On the contrary, in South Korea, it's a completely different story. Under the strict Health Functional Foods Act, the Korean Ministry of Food and Drug Safety enforces some of the highest quality standards in the world. Manufacturers cannot just launch a formulation with unproven ingredients. Every health claim and functional ingredient must undergo rigorous, evidence-based evaluation and clinical safety checks before it ever reaches the public. This is why choosing a reputable manufacturer is so important. It's also why Atomy partners with global powerhouse Colmar BNH to manufacture its supplements. Colmar isn't just an ordinary manufacturer, it's a premier world-class original development manufacturer, co-founded with the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute. Colmar's facilities hold prestigious international certifications, including CGMP, Current Good Manufacturing Practices, and multiple ISO designations. In fact, their top-tier safety standards recently earned a perfect no-action indicated classification from the US FDA and strict pharmaceutical-grade GMP clearance from Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration. When you choose an Atomy supplement manufactured by Colmar, you are getting verified purity, precise dosing, and unparalleled safety that unknown brands simply cannot match. But premium manufacturing is only part of the story. The soul of Atomy lies in the integrity of its founder and CEO. His founding philosophy is simple yet revolutionary: absolute quality, absolute price. His mission is to provide high-quality, life-changing health products at a fair price. By cutting out expensive retail middlemen and leveraging Colmar's massive state-of-the-art production capacity, Atomy creates real efficiency. That allows Atomy to deliver elite-level wellness products to customers around the world without the elite price tag. Your health is too valuable to gamble on unknown manufacturers and unverified ingredients. Choose the safety, science, and strict standards of a brand built on absolute integrity. Switch to Atomy supplements to help protect your health and the health of your loved ones. Become an Atomy member for free with your sponsor's ID number. Then gain access to
So, the word is out. If you want to be about integrity, you want to be about purity and precision and absolute quality and absolute price, stick with Atomy South Korea. Through Colmar, we produce the best of the best. And don't forget, if it's even the Manuka honey coming from Australia, or the propolis coming from Brazil, or the fermented noni coming from Java Island, Indonesia, it's global sourcing, global sales. We are always sourcing the best of the best that there is. And that's all from CJ this morning, 11:01. We're out of here. If there is anyone want to make a final contribution before we go, the floor is open. Anyone?
Thank you for the videos.
Who goes there?
Igor.
Igor, that's a pleasure, my friend. Listen, the request that you made, it's in the Momentum Morning chat on WhatsApp right now, and it's
I got
also
it
right.
already. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you, Igor. Okay, if there isn't any other question, it's 2 minutes past the hour, and it's time to go again. I wish you all a productive, super fantastic day, and we are out of here. And it's Aja, Aja, Aja.
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 Aja. Thank you, CJ.
Aja.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, CJ.
Great videos. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
CJ. We feel like we're in a university here of atomy.
Thank you, CJ.
You are my
Aja,
Aja.
CJ,
Thank
please
you,
check
thank
my
you.
DM.
Of
I
course.
sent you a message, please. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay.
Okay.